Back on the SportsMax Zone, incredible developments today with news that the girls under-20 world record posted by Jamaica at the Carifta Games in April has not been ratified by the sports governing body World Athletics. World Athletics saying the mark was rejected because not all team members were subjected to doping control. The Jamaica Antidoping Commission, JADCO, has since admitted that only 3 of the 4 team members were tested following the final at the National Stadium in Kingston on the 17th of April. Now, in a statement issued earlier on Wednesday, JADCO said a urine sample was not collected from the 4th athlete because the athlete in question had given a sample the previous day. The release also said JADCO was contracted by the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association, the JAAAs, to carry out 6 samples per day over the 3-day event. Question is, though, what does the rule say about ratification of world records? World Athletics Rule 31 says an athlete or athletes in the case of a relay team who set a world record must do the following. An athlete or athletes in the case of a relay event who set world records must submit to doping control immediately after the end of the event where the athlete has broken or equaled a world record. No delays other than those identified in the anti-doping rules shall be accepted. Doping controls for the ratification of a world record shall be conducted in accordance with the anti-doping rules and shall be sent to a WADA accredited laboratory as soon as possible after collection. Doping control samples collected for the ratification of world records in endurance events from 400 meters upwards shall be analyzed for erythropoiesis stimulating agents, ECA. The doping control documentation, doping control form and corresponding lab results shall be sent to World Athletics as soon as it is available and ideally together with the world record application form, which must in all cases be completed and dispatched to the office within 30 days of the competition. The doping control documentation will be reviewed by the Athletics Integrity Unit and the performance will not be ratified in these following circumstances. Let's have a look at them now. If a doping control is not conducted, if the doping control has not been conducted in accordance with the competition rules or the anti-doping rules, if the doping control sample is not suitable for analysis or has not been analyzed for ESA, for endurance events from 400 meters upwards only, and 4, if the doping control results in an anti-doping rule violation. Note in the case of a relay world record, all members of the team must be tested. Okay, senior writer at SportsMax.tv, Leighton Levy, well, he says he has been informed. He had a discussion with the JAAAs earlier on today. The JAAAs is actually issuing a press release within the last hour, and this is what the press release says, that the recently concluded 49th staging of the Carifta Games held in Kingston, Jamaica, the winning Jamaica girls under 24x100 relay team ran a world record time. This performance, along with the supporting documentation, let's get that back up here now. In essence, the report is saying from the JAAAs that they had handed over the contract for the doping control to JADCO and pretty much gave JADCO, as far as they're concerned, the reasoning of or their understanding of what should be required in a situation like this. It says it is a fact that 4 athletes were notified by the Jamaica anti-doping officials and presented themselves to anti-doping within the required time window to be tested. Unfortunately, JADCO took the decision unknown to the JAAAs. Let me get that here again. It keeps disappearing from my screen. Unknown to the JAAAs and the NACAC anti-doping delegate, not to test the athlete based on a JADCO standard. This was in direct contradiction to oral and written instructions by the JAAAs. It is to be noted that JADCO is the agency that performs these anti-doping procedures, and the JAAAs is saying they pretty much left it to JADCO to carry out the function as is standard. Now, let's hear from Leighton Levy, our SportsMax.tv senior writer, as we track this developing story. the chairman of the Jamaica Antidoping Commission. Let's get him first, Alexander Williams, to talk about what has happened here. Dramatic story developing earlier this morning, Mr. Williams. Can you respond first of all to a J3's release that just came out that suggested that JADCO operated in contradiction to the procedure given to them by the J3As?
Thank you very much for having me, sir. Well, let me begin by saying that I can't really quarrel with what the J3As has issued in press release based on what you have just reported. I've done my own investigations into the matter, and I have seen where JADCO did receive written instructions to test, do a certain number of tests at the event, and in addition, testing being done on any athlete who achieves a national world record. So I understand that there is in fact an internal JADCO directive, it's as highest I can put it, which says that if an athlete is tested in competition, you ought not to test that athlete within 24 hours thereafter. However, having said that, there is nothing barring, and I can't see what would be any prohibition in JADCO testing an athlete thereafter in a situation where that athlete has achieved a national or a world record. So in short, JADCO dropped the ball, if I might use a sports term, and the consequence, I do admit, is great. These athletes work very hard to in their discipline and their sport. And today is the day where I have to tell the nation that rather than support athletes in their particular discipline here, JADCO took a wrong decision, quite frankly. The testing should have taken place. That's the most I can offer. I hear you mention that there is some sort of appeal process that the J3s might be pursuing. I must tell you, I'm hearing this for the first time, and I don't know if somehow I can assist in that process and if it is still possible.
Yeah, well, that hasn't been confirmed, Mr. Williams. We did hear that in the grapevine earlier on today, but it wasn't stated in the press release that the J3As has given us within the last hour. Leighton Levy had reported that having a discussion with a J3As official, that is where they were thinking. But a monumental admission just made by you on the show, Mr. Williams. Can you tell us what your discussion with your staff surrounding the actual incident would have been like today?
Well, I had a discussion with the executive director, who is of like mind, who indicated to me that this only came to our attention afterwards. So the decision which was taken on the ground not to test that fourth athlete was something she was unaware of at the material time. So I had another discussion with another officer of JADCO as to that, who gave me the explanation as to why that particular decision was made. So I did my research as well. I looked at the correspondence I received from J3As. And as again I say, I can't fault the J3As. They did say exactly what they required of us in their letter to us. They didn't have to go into the World Athletic Rules, but simply to give us instructions that I have indicated, which I thought was sufficient. So we drop again. I'm saying, and this is coming with my own apology, and I suspect, well, not suspect, we will have to put in place some kind of formal apology to J3As and the athletes going forward here. I know this is small comfort for where we are now, but if I might just step back a little, whilst we followed water protocols, we did follow the protocols established by the World Antidoping Agency under their international standard for testing. That we did do. But having said that, the protocol doesn't say that you can't go beyond the protocol. You can do more than what the protocol prescribes. And in this instance, I would have thought that, especially in view of written instructions that would not have conflicted with the water protocol, we ought to have tested.
Right, and earlier in your first answer to Lance, in your first response, you spoke about a limited number of tests per day. Can you just tell us a bit more on that?
In going into an event, you would get an indication from the event organizer as to the amount of tests that you are required to do. So there was a certain amount of tests. I must tell you, I didn't get into the details in my research as to those tests, apart from what is issued in the press release. 8 done on one day, 8 on another day, 6 on another day, and so on. We were asked to do 6 tests per day. So it appears as if, and I'm only going to go as far as that, it appears as if we did more testing per day than that J3 required of us. But J3 in addition did say testing should be done on any athlete who achieves a national world record, right? So whilst we may have done more than the nominal amount of tests, it does not appear, well, we did not comply with the request to test any athlete who achieved a national world record. Obviously, the athlete in question did not achieve it on the 16th of April. She achieved it on the 17th of April along with her team. So, in as much as it would have required testing within a 24-hour period, there's nothing to say it could not have been done, and it ought to have been done.
So based on what occurred, do you get the sense that those doing the testing might need some more training because they are missing loopholes in the rules, especially that important part at the end? And what will be done from your organization, from the highest level, to ensure that there is never a repeat like this mistake in Jamaica again?
This problem occurred because of what appears to be a directive, a long-standing directive that exists in the organization prior to this current executive director. And this is the first time hearing of it, I must tell you. So what it means, we need to review the procedures and remind educate again the testing personnel, especially at an event, as to what the requirements are, and not to overlay on it any kind of general practice that may have existed before. That is what that needs to happen now, and that's the investigation that we are going to have to undertake to ensure that this doesn't happen again, because how do I put it now? Sometimes an organization may have a way of doing things which may not be strictly accurate.
Yeah. So Alex,
right?
it's
So I want to ensure that there are no other directives or understandings that might exist in the organization that might lead to this dire result.
Yeah.
Then I made the point that, I would like people to not always act purely administratively, but also to act with a modicum of common sense. Let me let's get straight at it.
Yeah.
I can't see how at world record and from what your report you're telling me, the athletes presented themselves for testing. Nothing to stop you from testing, so test. Use your common sense. You're talking about a world record. Questions will be asked down the road if you don't test, so test.
Yeah.
No, that would have been, to my mind, the common sense approach at a particular time.
Yeah. So I've heard all this, and to say disappointing is to put it mildly. But I wonder, I'm struggling to reconcile how JADCO's long-standing practice of testing the way the doping control officer tested, how that reconciles with World Athletics' clear rules, the rules that Lance read through before we started our conversation.
Let me tell you how it reconciles.
Yes.
Let me tell you how it reconciles,
yes.
Right? The overall approach in anti-doping and in testing is, and let me put it in my own words, not to unduly harass athletes, especially in competition. Most of the prohibited substances may well not manifest themselves in outside of a 24-hour period, but may manifest themselves outside of a 24-hour period. So the idea is do reasonable testing in competition. Don't test an athlete too often while they're actually in a competition, because as you can imagine, your mental preparation taking place in addition to the physical preparation. You don't want every hour and the hour and a doping control officer coming up with you asking for a urine or a blood test. You don't want that to happen.
But here's the thing, though. But here's the thing.
So I'm trying, not excusing it, but trying to explain why it may be this.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. But here's the thing. A world record is an extraordinary thing. For many athletes, it's a once in a lifetime thing. Most coaches who are outstanding never coach an athlete who breaks a world record. So here's the thing. So I'm still struggling with the reconciling of that, I must tell you, because I'm saying the World Athletics records were, well, they're from my perspective, they're clear. As an experienced attorney, you would know that, you know, being clear is relative. But this thing, I think a reasonable person would admit that the World Athletics rules are clear. And I'm wondering how it is that JADCO's practices can have remained so far behind what the World Athletics rules say about world records. I can accept the point about not wanting to harass an athlete who's just competing. So you're running 4th and 5th in 3 or 4 events, fine. But you've broken a world record. So that removes the element of harassment, because an athlete who breaks a world record should reasonably expect that they will be tested. So I'm saying it is clear to me that there is a huge gap. So such an important element of what JADCO should be doing remains in the dark, while World Athletics has given light to what the specific rules are. And that is what I find incredible here, Alexander Williams, because I'm saying such an important thing. Yeah.
I don't know if sitting here, I can agree with you that the gap is a huge gap.
Well, the evidence is here, though. The evidence is here, though. Because World Athletics' rules are clear, and those weren't followed in this instance.
What I'm saying, if I might just back up again, a number of different sporting bodies, a number of different rules, right? All different types of rules may touch and concern a particular event. But what I'm saying is, to my mind, particularly in this instance, the application of common sense at the moment and on the day would have been enough.
But Alex, the reason is this. The reason I hear you on the common sense.
I'm not taking away from your point.
But I'm joining you. I'm joining you to say that common sense, yes, because I'm agreeing with you. But I'm saying the reason.
I'm not taking away from the fact, right, which seems to be coming to the fore now.
Yeah.
Not enough familiarity, understanding, knowledge of the different rules that might touch and concern an event are known to the particular testing officers on the ground.
But at the base level.
If that is what you mean by a huge gap, that is something that you like.
And that is the point I'm making, because how Jamaicans are likely to look at this is this. JADCO did not know the rules. Especially because it's not that you had to hunt after each of the 4 young ladies. They came and you turn back one. So you didn't know the rules. JADCO did not know the rules that this is how you treat with a world record. And because the rules were not known, we are here having this discussion today.
But put it this way, I won't go so far as to say JADCO did not know the rules. What I will say is this: the particular officer on the ground was not a favor of the rules. Because it's not true to say that the knowledge is unknown to JADCO.
But here's the thing. Here's why I could extend it there. If you could accept it, here's why I could extend it there. So clearly, the control officer, the testing officer, did not know that he must test all four. You say that the executive director did not know that in the event of a world record.
That the executive did not know.
So if the executive director did not know, how come other people did not know?
Well, that's a question that I will have to answer. And I will get the answer.
You know, what I'm trying to also get at is this. You know how people are. I don't want anybody to go and find who the testing officer was and lay the blame at his or her feet, because it is clear that he or she was operating on a set of rules handed down by higher up in JADCO that, listen, if you tested her or him yesterday and they run today, you don't have to test them again. So clearly it is that perhaps it is that the executive director has knowledge and information that wasn't passed down to the very important people who are doing the testing. And so, remember, you know, these things are so important. You want to eliminate discretion and the application of common sense. You want to go by the rules, a book of rules.
Yeah.
Whoa, this is a difficult. I don't know. It's heartbreaking, Alexander Williams. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. But anyway. Yeah. We thank you for your contrition, and you say you are doing an internal investigation to find out more information and to refine going forward.
Yes.
Thank you for your time, sir. All the best.
Let me end by apologizing. I'm apologizing to the J3As, to the athletes, and to Jamaica. That is what I'm doing on behalf of JADCO.
Hear you on that, sir.
I am going to take the necessary steps to ensure that this does not happen again.
Hear you on that, sir. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Alexander Williams there, the chairman of the Jamaica Antidoping Commission. We take a break. When we return, we continue with this story, but we hear from Jamaica's head coach at the Carifta Games. Shocking news emerging today that Jamaica's World Under-20 women, the 4x100 meters record that they set, world record at the Carifta Games, cannot be ratified because World Athletics says not all members of the winning team were tested. It's you know, most times we say, oh, it's an unfortunate situation. No, this is a cock-up of epic proportions by the Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission. Its chairman has admitted such, and we're going to have to go a far way and say many things to soothe the wounds, well, to cure the ills that have been created by the situation. Corey Bennett, head coach of Jamaica's Carifta team, and the man directly responsible for the coaching of the third leg runner, Brianna Liston, joins us on the show right now. Corey, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Good.
It's important for me to join on the condition, but nonetheless, thanks for having me.
Yeah, Corey, I mean, it's very difficult. It's very rare, rather, that I don't even know where to start an interview because there are so many things going through my head. I find it, I'm pinching myself to tell myself that I'm really here today talking about such an achievement not being recognized for the reasons that have emerged. Have you yet made sense of the fact that what those women did for the country inside the national stadium against the best that we have here in the Caribbean will not be reflected on the history books?
not sure if he's here.
Is Corey hearing us?
Lost you a little bit.
Are you hearing me now?
I'm hearing you now.
You're hearing me now? All right. So I was asking if you yet have reconciled the fact that this world record is not to be.
You know, I got up to that horrible news this morning when I got a call from one Ricardo Chambers. You know, I had to sit down. You know, it took me a while to process it. I'm still processing it because I think it is similar to almost picking your own pockets. You know, it is likened to break into your own homes and stealing your most precious jewels. It's unforgivable. It's embarrassing, actually. It's unfair. It's unkind. But, and not just to the 4 young ladies who actually took part in the actual breaking of the world record, but to Jamaica, who came out and celebrated with us. You know, words can't express what took. All 4 young ladies weren't tested. You know, just a week before, you know, when Kerry Hill broke the world record in the hurdles, I was warned before she broke it that, you know, Corey, just in case she looks like she might break it, just in case she breaks it, this is what is going to happen. She has to be tested for it to be ratified. Corey, please cooperate. I know it's champs and it's tough, but please cooperate. So it was known. It's something that is known in Jamaica. That's something that was known by me. You know, it's embarrassing, you know, to say the least. I have no words to add to that.
Is it a case, Corey, where had you known that one of the 4 young women would have been turned back when they went to get tested, that you would have sent a chaperone to insist that the sample be taken?
Oh, well, yeah, because, I mean, it was made clear to me with a similar incident of just one individual the week before at Champs. So, you know, I heard that they went to get tested. I didn't know that one didn't go. So they've been testing all over the weekend. I can't see to know why they would have eliminated one person or omitted one person from being tested. I mean, you know, they've robbed us. They've robbed Jamaica. They've robbed us and the young ladies of the world record. And that's
have you spoken to any of the young ladies? What's their reaction to the news that their world record it will not exist?
You know, my son knows one of the young ladies pretty well, and he told me just an hour ago that we heard that one young lady was told she doesn't need to go. That's the best I know about it. I haven't even gotten a chance to speak to my own Brianna on it. I didn't know what to say to her, but I guess it's already out there in the social media space. And
told by who, though, Corey?
It's hard for me to tell.
Told by who? She was told by someone that she didn't. Told by who? Did you have that information?
No, I mean, it just seemed as if somebody was one of the testers. Because when I tend to share most things with my son first to get a feel as to his age group, what happened. And he says, I spoke to Brianna, and she says that somebody told one of us we don't need to be tested, something like that.
Can you say which one of the ladies wasn't tested? Can you say which one of the ladies was told that, Corey?
You know, I may be inaccurate, but I was told that Tina was not tested. I don't know how accurate that information is, but I was told that Tina wasn't.
And it's logical because she had won the 100 the night before. Yeah. So it's logical that she would have been told that you don't have to get tested.
Yeah. The latest J3's press release actually identified Tina Clayton as the person that wasn't tested. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so Corey, the JADCO has been apportioned I've been given all the blame. They've taken all the blame. The chairman, I don't know if you saw him just now on this program, he said, boy, he's apologizing and it's unfortunate. For you, is that enough? And is an apology enough in these circumstances?
No, an apology can't be enough. I mean, it's not a champs record. It's not a national record. It's a world record. and this may never happen again. You know, something has to give. Some heads have to roll. You know, I mean, I'm not advocating a person should lose their job, but something has to give in a circumstance such as this. It's not like we can go there tomorrow and do it all over again. And yes, we may have the same young ladies intact, but nothing is a given. It's a relay. And when you talk about a world record, you know, I believe we should have been on World Record Watch. You know, we did this with other young ladies in Nairobi, Kenya, a couple of months ago, and I believe we had a perfect opportunity to do it again. So even if it didn't happen, we should have been on watch.
But Corey,
you know, it just makes me wonder what.
Corey, if heads are to roll, here's the tricky part. The chairman says he didn't know that the procedure to follow was as set down by World Athletics. He told us too that the executive director did not know that the procedure to follow was as set down by World Athletics. And that the tester did not know that the procedure to follow was as set down by World Athletics. So it's almost as if we'd have to get rid of a lot of people at JADCO, because it's not as if the tester is at fault, because the tester was operating under the JADCO long-standing practice of, if you test the person 24 hours ago, you don't need to test them 24 hours after. So you're talking about a lot of heads rolling for this.
Yeah, if so be the case. But, you know, this is an unusual circumstance. This is not a everyday testing of an athlete or athletes. This is to ratify a world record. And that's a little different. And if it is that you didn't know the procedure that goes along with testing or ratifying a world record, then you need to probably resign the job, because it is clear. And so, I mean, and I just found out kind of recently, to be honest. I mean, when I was told the week before that, Corey, please get Karee Cahill ready to be tested, because chances are she may break the record, the world record, and she has to be tested to ratify the record. I'm not in JADCO.
So you informed yourself. You informed yourself of the procedures, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And the JADCO official told you what the procedures were.
The person that called me, I'm not sure if he's a JADCO official, but he's a medical person.
All right. So, all right. That's fine. But the point I'm making is that you informed yourself about what will happen if a world record is broken. The fact is, JADCO didn't. Yeah. JADCO didn't, and that's why we are here today. Corey, boy, I don't know. You could go through your entire career. You could go through your entire career as a coach and never have an athlete or a group of athletes under your charge achieve a world record, and it is devastating that you and those girls are going to be denied, and the rest of the team are going to be denied this distinction by virtue of JADCO's incompetence.
You know, I heard his apology at the end of his talk, and clearly I'm not holding the gun to his head, but that can't be enough. You know, that can't be enough to Jamaica. That you're saying that I apologize for not testing one person of a world record run, and therefore World Athletics will not ratify the world record. It may never happen again, as you said. You know, I hope to God that, you know, we are able to see it again. So young ladies are still young, and hopefully we'll get another chance to see it happen again. But it's unfair. It's unfair to us. It's unfair
more than
to
that.
Of the many coaches who have worked. Yeah.
Thank you for your time, Corey. We'll talk again, and we hope that we'll talk under better circumstances.
I really hope so. Thanks for having me.
Good.
This is a pretty tough one, though.
Pretty tough.
Yeah, pretty tough. I know that, well, for the benefit of some of our viewers, they may not recognize that the record is still held by the Jamaicans. It was that they were breaking their own record.
Yes.
But this doesn't take the pain away, because this is an advanced performance from the world record they already had. And the fact is that it's not the same 4 athletes. There's one different athlete. So I don't think this takes the pain away.
No one
I just think it's important for some of the viewers who may not have known that they were breaking their own world record. But, you know, this is unforgivable. And I think that even though Mr. Williams put his hand up and emphatically threw his entire team under the bus, the J3A position, I think, enhances or magnifies the depth of the problem. Because even though JADCO has come out now and accepted responsibility, this statement by the J3As is a very, very damning statement. Because what it says here, I repeat for those who may have missed it, unfortunately, JADCO took the decision, unknown to the J3A and the NACAC anti-doping delegate, not to test the athlete based on a JADCO standard. This was in direct contradiction to oral and written instructions by the J3As. So I think the J3As is making it clear, George and Mariah, that, you know, they are in a position that they could have been coming under some pressure from the fans. And they're saying, listen, we did what we were supposed to do.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you reread that statement, because, you know, JADCO standards can't be the standards, the world record standards. And of course, you know, I don't even know how to say sorry to the ladies, because God alone know what they are going through right now. Because as we made it clear on the show, we're not sure if, you know, this would happen anytime soon again.
JADCO has nowhere to hide. It's as simple as that.
Well, I think Mr. Williams' body language told us that.
Written and oral instructions. This is like a client giving instructions to an attorney and they're not followed in court and you lose the case.
Yes,
yeah? It is, I don't know, this is, you know, let's move on.
Okay, still to come on today's show, Jamaica has a new senior women's football head coach. We discuss that development. We also have just the facts and our discussion on the French Tennis Open. And in our next segment, we ask, are Manchester United about to make a familiar mistake? The expensive 2016 signing, Paul Pogba is set to leave on a free transfer, while the old Trafford club prepares a big money move for Barcelona's Frenkie de Jong.
Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news and entertainment.